introduction afterwards. The idea behind the whole story, and I will start with the front page, is that you probably, most of you, hi Ivo, most of you already heard about Migrant Talent Garden Croatia. We are a project that is funded by Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway grants, and we are trying to support all people who are trying to incorporate their business or maybe have some business idea during their stay in Croatia or maybe during their life in Croatia. As you probably know, we have been active in the community for the last more than 2 years now, but more than, I think the last year was the one that you can be aware of, and it's visible on our Facebook page. And we are coming to the final stage of the project where we want to attract all of you who are basically thinking about starting a business in Croatia and want to get the insight in how to do it. So my workshop tonight is basically dealing with the legal aspects of starting business in Croatia. And I want you to participate. You can stop me any moment. You can ask questions. You can leave the chat, or you can send an email afterwards to our Gmail address, or just leave it on our Facebook page. We will share the materials with you. If you want, we can send it via email. And we will also have the lecture on the YouTube channel, so you can watch it afterwards. So do not hesitate to contact us, and we are really here to help you start your business in Croatia. The whole project is envisaged for people who are younger than 29 and not coming from EU, but that doesn't mean that all others cannot join. Moreover, we would be more than happy to have as much people as possible, especially because we have great experts who will share their knowledge and background with you and expertise, and also would gladly help you with the contacts you need to start your business with. And also the greater value you will get out of this project is networking between yourselves and the support you will get from the community we are going to create. So as I said before, I'm a lawyer by profession, and I do mentoring in Croatian startup community a lot. And this is basically my field of expertise. So how to start business in Croatia? You probably already know that there are many different ways how to be present as a legal entity, as a company, as a business in Croatia. We will just list here the most common ones. You probably all heard about it. They are limited liability company, or d.o.o. in Croatia, društvo s ograničenom odgovornošću, simple limited liability company, jednostavno društvo s ograničenom odgovornošću, j.d.o.o. and craft or obrt ili paušalni obrt in Croatian. So we will just go briefly through all of those legal modes. The most common legal entity in Croatia is d.o.o. or j.d.o.o. It's basically a limited liability company in any other company, or company that is not publicly listed and that is more or less owned by natural persons, so regular citizens. The differences between d.o.o. and j.d.o.o. are basically just a few, and I will just point out the key ones: number of founders, share capital amount, cost of incorporation. So if you want to have d.o.o., can I ask you to mute yourself, because I can hear some noise and I'm not sure who is not muted, so please do mute. Thank you. So key features are that for d.o.o. we can have as many founders as possible. So you have to have one, so it can be only your business, one founder, one person having idea, or you can have 1,000, 1 million. I would never recommend it, but you can do that. You can also, and the key document that you have to think about, and we will also go through it, is Articles of Association, or IZIAVA o osnivanju, DRUŠTVENI UGOVOR in Croatian. Then you have share capital, and share capital is in the amount of minimum of 20,000 kuna. And remember this figure, because you'll see afterwards, this is one of the key differences between jednostavni d.o.o. and d.o.o. Management board has to have one director. Usually there are two, but there is no limitation that you have 100 directors. Nobody having, I would say, normal expectation of the company would have 100 directors, but there is no limitation. You can do that. And the cost of incorporating such a company is around 2,500 Croatian kunas. And this is basically the cost of the notary public that you have to use for the notarization of the documentation that is required to incorporate the company. If you go to j.d.o.o, you will see that even in the name, it's basically the same company, but this one is, let's say, simple, and it has jednostavni, that means simple in Croatian, in the name, because the attention behind it was to have it more popular and easier for access compared to d.o.o, because usually you remember the share capital of 20,000 kuna proved to be a rather huge burden for all the people who wanted to incorporate the company. So few years ago, I think 4 or 5 years ago, even 6, the Companies Act was changed, and we have this j.d.o.o that can be incorporated with just 10 kunas, and that's equivalence, you probably know, of less than €1.5. As we talked about founders with d.o.o, you can have minimum 1, but there is no limit to a number. When it comes to j.d.o.o, this simple company, you are limited to 5. So if you are having 6 founders, 6 people who want to start business together, basically you can't do it in a form of j.d.o.o, or somebody has to give up and not be a shareholder or a founder. Again, we have articles of association or DRUŠTVENI UGOVOR IZIAVA o OSNIVANJU, and then the share capital, as I mentioned, is 10 kuna. Compared to the management board of d.o.o, where you can have 100 directors, in management board of j.d.o.o, you can only have 1 director. And this is the number you can have. So if you are 2 of you and you want both to be directors, this is not a choice for you. You have to go to d.o.o. Remember that share capital is not something that is just the money that will be on the account and nobody will be able to use it. No, it's the money that you can loan from your friends, family, or from the bank, or have as your savings that has to be deposited with the bank in the process of opening a company, and can be in the moment when the company is incorporated, when you have the decision from the commercial court, use it for buying raw materials, buying chairs or computers for your company, or anything else. So it's basically just the working capital you need to start your business. So don't worry, it's not something that will forever stay somewhere locked. No, it's just operating working capital of your business initial. As you remember, we had 2,500 kunas for d.o.o, approximately 800 kuna, or even less, because some court fees have been abolished 3 weeks ago. Is basically required to incorporate j.d.o.o. So it's much, much cheaper, much easier. But as we say, if you have more than 5 founders or you want 2 directors, go for d.o.o. instead of j.d.o.o. But if you're just less than 5 people and you are okay with having just 1 director, j.d.o.o. is working good for you. Then we mentioned also the third legal mode. It's kraft, or in Croatian is trade, obrt, or very, very popular paušalni obrt. So it's basically also a mode that enables you to provide your services and products to the market, but it's, in a way, it's limited, because in some business activities, like, I don't know, hairdresser, if you want to have it through OBRT, you have to have your master degree in order to have it through mode of OBRT. But if you want to have it through d.o.o, it's easier. So you have to really, really check initially which kind of business activities you want to pursue through OBRT, and then go for it. Also, there is paušalni obrt, and the only difference between OBRT and paušalni obrt is basically the way it's taxed. And this is something that we will talk about afterwards, but definitely you have to investigate which is the best option for you when you decide which kind of legal mode you will choose to pursue your business idea. As I mentioned, articles of association are the stone document, the key document foundations of each company. So we have it with j.d.o.o. and d.o.o. And the things that are regulated, among other things, in that document are things that basically deal with who the founders of the company are. So if I'm incorporating company, in such document, my name, surname, my business, my address, my tax number, OIB for Croatian residents will be there. Also, if I'm a company, I can also incorporate another company, and then instead of having a name and surname, there will be a company name and the business seat. You also have to have company name. In Croatian, it's called tvrtka. So it's, I don't know, the brand or the name you're using when you are appearing in the market. So it's like Atlantic d.d. or Pliva d.d. or I don't know, I have to think aloud. Or when you go to bank, there is Zagrebačka banka d.d. So company name is Zagrebačka banka. DD means joint stock company. Business seat is basically the bigger town or place where the location or your business activities will be. So it's Zagreb, Split, Rijeka, Dubrovnik. And you have to think hard, and you should use the same business seat where actually you are going to do the business, because depending on the business seat, the commercial court is chosen, and also the tax authorities. So you want somebody who is near you, who is convenient, and not to use too much money and resources to get to them. You also have to decide on business activities. This is something that is not in the Articles of Association, but is part of decision that is connected to Articles of Association. And we will talk about business activities and how to choose them later on. And also the share capital. So this is the document where you will decide how much of share capital you have. The minimum is 20,000 kunas for d.o.o. or 10 kunas for j.d.o.o. But also this is the document if you have more than 2 founders, so 2 of you and your friends are starting a business, you will decide who will have the majority of share capital, meaning of the business quota, or if you have the equal number. So you can be 50-50, or you can be 10% one, 90% another one, or 1% one, 99% the other one. And this is something that has to be stated in that document. This is very important. When we are thinking about starting a company with somebody else than yourself, you really have to think about relations between founders. So if you're having a partner or a friend or a family member who you think that you should start a business with, or maybe another company that is already existing in the market and they want to invest in your idea through incorporating the company, you have to sort out the relationship. Usually the relationships are sorted out in a document that is called shareholders agreement. But if you don't have enough money to afford yourself a shareholders agreement, that's not important in that initial stage. However, you definitely have a piece of paper and you can write down the agreement, handwritten, computer, but sign it by hand in person. So it's in a way, it's also a psychological effect, because when people agree that I'm going to bring 10,000 kunas and my contacts, the other one says I'm going to give 10,000 kunas and I don't know, initial raw materials into the company, that has to be stated in the agreement. So clear out all the deadlines, the roles, definition of the work of the capital, who is going to work what, who is going to bring the know-how, and things like that. Everything has to be, it doesn't have to be written in legal words. It can be the simple agreement that you put down in one piece of paper signed by both of you, because this is the way that things have to be clear. You can't say that it will be agreed afterwards. I've seen it so many times in my profession, in my experience, that is almost 20 years now, that unfortunately people don't remember things. And when you have, for various reasons. So when you have a piece of paper that states, I'm bringing 10,000 kunas and 2 chickens that we are going to use for our chicken farm. The other one says, I'm bringing 10,000 kunas and I don't know, cages for the chicken, for our chicken farm. And I'm going to pay that 10,000 kunas by end of September. The other one says, I can't do it end of September. I will do it end of October after I get my salary. Then you can basically ask them to do it. And if they say, I didn't say it will be end of September, or I said it will be end of December, it won't be easy to mitigate the fact that you have signed a piece of paper saying that you said it's going to be end of September. Of course, you can always say, I can't do it end of September because I didn't get the loan from the bank, because I didn't get the salary or whatever, and you can agree to have another date. But the idea is to put it in writing, and it's much, much easier when you have written down something instead of just having pure words that people tend to avoid for various reasons, as I say. So my recommendation is use a piece of paper, agree on the terms of your agreement, and do stick with it, because this is your company and you want things to succeed. So do whatever it's in your power to succeed, to make it successful, sorry. The other thing that I always say to my startups, and this is also something that I really recommend to you, play with scenarios, any scenarios, good or bad. So imagine that your business is so successful that you have to hire 10 people on the second month of your operations. And then just think about different situations you will have to face, where those people will be sitting. Do you need a national premises for those people? How you are going to pay the salary? If you are going to need a loan, who is going to provide such loan? How you are going to pay the profits or the dividends? What if somebody else comes to the company and wants to invest? When and how you are going to repay any loan that it was granted by each of you personally at the beginning of the business, so-called friends, fools, and family loans. So your grandmother is giving you the start capital. If you see that your business is not really working, so you want to change entirely, we started with 2 chickens, and now we want to sell, I don't know, we want to open the pet shop instead of having a chicken farm. So we have to change the business model. So we have to have something completely different. How you are going to agree about that? Think about the situation that you no longer want to be in the business, so you want to liquidate the company, or maybe unfortunately you have the situation that leads to bankruptcy, so you are not able to service your own debts, own meaning the company's debt, so you have to go to bankruptcy. This game is in a way just I would say a test, good test to see how your partners are thinking about all these situations. And in a way, it's a good way to by playing roles and playing games, to see what are the possible scenarios and what you can do to prevent them or to mitigate them, or maybe to make them happen. Because it's not just bad scenarios, it's good scenarios also. And also it gives you ability to, when those circumstances occur, that you already have a vague idea how the other party will react. So how your founders, your co-owners of the company will react. And also it will give you ability to agree faster to new solution. So it's not that anybody wants your company not to succeed, but you know that it's very, very hard for every company to be successful within and within the first year or even the second, and that the most companies don't make it until the third year of their existence. And I believe that exercises as this one help you in a way to make yourself aware whether you are the good material for the to be an owner of the company or you are not. And maybe the resolution at the end will be that you won't go incorporating your company for the various reasons in that moment, but maybe you will do it in a year or two, or I don't know, in 10 years time. And also, as I said before, it will give you ability to already have some, I always say, some pets in your brain, so that some roads in your brain that you were thinking about the possible scenarios, as I say, good and bad, and you already have, in a way, a starting decision that has to be fine-tuned and agreed between two of you. So this is basically step by step how to incorporate company. The same applies more or less to j.d.o.o or j.d.o.o. As I said before, you have to reach an agreement which kind of company you are going to have. You have to bring decision. Everybody who will be involved has to agree on the company name, how much of the share capital, where the business seat will be, what are the business activities you are going to do. Then you have to do either through attorney at law office or notary, or you can all use the FINA or web portal e-tvrtka, and you can do it on your own through web portal or use FINA. No matter of the point two, after you have agreement and the decision, so-called articles of association, IZIAVA o osnivanju, DRUŠTVENI ugovor, basically you go to any business bank of your choice where you want to have your business account on later stage for your company, and you pay the share capital. The share capital can be at least 20,000 kunas for j.d.o.o or 10 kunas for j.d.o.o. You can also do the payment through FINA, so you don't have to go to the bank. When you apply for the registration of the company, you can do it through notary or e-tvrtka again. It usually takes, I would say, 5 to 10 working days until the court reaches decision. And then you have decision on incorporation. And in that moment, you can basically finalize the process of incorporation. You go to local statistical bureau, the office that issues you NKD number. This is a statistical number that you will need for your bank. You can also decide whether you want to make a stamp or not. This is basically something that is going into the history, but nevertheless, there are some situations when somebody will ask you to be a pečat. So stamp is pečat in Croatian. And don't forget to register with FINA in True Owners Register. This is something rather new. It's less than 2 years old, and it has to be done. Otherwise, there will be fines imposed on you. So this is just pure registration. You go there and you register with True Owners Register. And this is the paper the bank will ask you. Because when you pay the share capital, the money doesn't go directly to the bank account of your future company. It goes to so-called privremeni račun, so it's interim account, and it's there deposited until the moment you have all of those things: decision on incorporation, statistical number, and registration with FINA in True Owners Registers. And then you go with all those papers to your bank of choice. So any business bank that supports company clients can be your bank. And you finish the process of bank account opening. And then you can start with operations of your company. So you can start providing your services or producing your products and selling them to the market. Please be aware that from the moment you start your business, you have to calculate the costs of the accountant and the bank fees. This is not something that you can postpone, and this has to be included in your initial business plan. So please do think about good accountant, ask around, see which industry you want to go to. So if you want to go to restaurant industry, ask around who the good accountant for the restaurant is, ask recommendations of your competitions or your friends that have restaurants, and use those people, because each industry has its own details that you have to be aware of, and not every accountant is good for your business. So please do be very careful when choosing accountant. Or you can choose any and then decide if it is good or bad after a month or two, and then switch to another one. As to the craft or trade or OBRT in Croatian, it's basically similar, but we don't do it in Sudski register, we do it in OBRTni register, so it's register of craft. You can do it also through e-građanin, e-citizen, or there is app or web site that is e-OBRT, like we have e-tvrtka. It's much less costly compared to DOO or j.d.o.o. It's around 200 kunas of different various costs. As when it comes to business activities, as I said before, you really have to be careful, because there is OBRTni register. So let's say the list of business activities that are allowed for craft or trade or OBRT, that is available online. But before choosing any of those activities, please do call or go to the local OBRTni register. Each city has its own, and consult with those ladies or gentlemen working there, and be sure that you don't have to have first that you can be registered for that particular business activities, and that you don't need any additional piece of paper. As I said, with hairdressers, you have to have master exam. So you can't do it if you have master exam from your country of origin. It has to be basically, in a way, recognized in Croatia, and that can be a really long process. Also, do think about cost of accountant and the bank fees, as with DOO, from the first month of doing business. And have in mind that the difference in taxation between paušalni OBRT and OBRT, and also between the person who is starting his own business activity through OBRT or trade craft, it really makes difference. If you are already employed, you can have your OBRT, nobody can forbid you, but you have to notify your employer. So your current employer has to know about your intention to have your OBRT. And also there is difference if you are not employed, because the treatment of the person who is employed and not employed in tax terms is completely different. So also ask around and be sure which is good choice for you, so that at the end your choice is the best, given all the details of your personal situation, so that it doesn't happen that you start your OBRT and then you have to pay more taxes at the end of the year because you choose paušal instead of regular OBRT and things like that. This is something that you really have to talk with your future accountant and really think about all the scenarios that can happen. They usually, when you go to the bank or when you go to the accountant, they usually ask you how much money do you think you are going to make. So this is not the question they want to, I don't know for any reasons other than bank wants to know how much money you're going to make, in a sense, how much money can be expected on your bank account, so they know that it's not, I don't know, terrorism or money laundering or whatever. It can be related to your business activities, your products and services. And the accountant is asking that question because they want to know in which tax class you are going to fall. Depending on the money you are going to make as OBRT, also the percentage of the tax will be calculated. So in order to give you a good initial estimate, which is good or bad for you, you have to be completely honest with your accountant. I know that it's sweet worries, but at the end you are making 1 million kunas instead of 10,000 that you envisage, but nevertheless, if the sales goes up that much, go to your accountant and make him aware of that, and he will advise you how to balance the taxes and also to have everything covered in that respect. Also, when I'm talking about legal aspects of starting your own company, I always want to mention the employment relations. This is something that you really have to be aware of, especially when you want to start your own business and you need employees that will be working for you. In Croatia, you have to basically have this so-called employment agreement that has minimum requirements from Croatian Labor Act. And it always has, in Croatian, it's Zakon o radu, and it has to be in written form. So do not have your employees working for you without having a written contract. This is something that you can buy in Narodne novine. You probably heard of Narodne novine. So it's an official Gazette bookstore that also offers stationery, and you can get the templates of more or less everything that you need. And do fill in the form and have it filed for every single worker. Please remember that the first phase, the first so-called zero worker, will be yourself, entrepreneur himself, and you do have to also have the employment agreement for yourself. So don't forget to have the agreement with yourself in a sense that your company is employer with you, and also that you are the zero worker. Also think about when you are having the minimum salary requirements, that depends on level of education of each of your workers. So the higher education level your worker has, you have to give him a higher salary. This is something that your accountant will advise you on, and also this is something that is publicly available, but be aware that minimum salary is regulated in Croatia by law, and also that you have to obey those rules, otherwise you can be in jeopardy that you are paying less money that you are obliged by tax regulations. Second phase of your business is every new worker. My recommendation is always to have this probation period. You can have it in Croatian, it's called probni rad. You can have it up to 6 months. And this is something that really helps you to see if the person that you got on board, that you asked to join your team, is a good fit, and does it share the same values and culture of your company. And also it gives them ability to prove themselves and to show themselves in the best light. And I think it's good because under the Croatian laws, it's really, really hard to cancel the contract, the employment contract with the person who is being employed on so-called neodređeni rok, indefinite period in time. And there are basically just few strictly regulated situations when you can terminate the contract. So in probation period, in this first initial 6 months, you can do it just for the reason that the worker is not satisfying, in a sense that he doesn't do well the job that you took him for. He doesn't sell well, he doesn't cut the hair well, he's not a good waiter, being rude to clients, and this is something that gives you opportunity to quickly change the people that you are not satisfied with and to be compliant with all the laws. And after the expiration of those 6 initial months, you will be in much more difficult situation when it comes to workers that are not really fulfilling their duties, and it's not that easy to give them cancellation of the agreement, and you really have to obey the law. Please always try to have so-called mutual agreement. In Croatian, it's sporazumni otkaz, meaning that sporazumni otkaz ugovora o radu, meaning that you agree on the mode of termination. You go to your worker, you say, we can't work anymore. Please, can you sign the mutual termination? I can give you one salary extra, or I can have you until the end of this month. And always try to have this, because in this situation, the worker won't be, first of all, you won't lose future partner, client, or maybe again employer. Also, you won't be in a jeopardy that such person goes to court and asks to be returned to her job. While in a situation when you cancel the agreement, when you do so-called отказ, you are in a situation that such person can go to the court and ask to be returned. The situation in Croatian court is such that usually the workers win, and then your employer that has to pay the difference of the salaries and also has to get them back into the team. And this is not something that you want if those people are not a good fit. So think about probation period. Also, something that I want to mention, and this is really important, is that agreements with partners and clients have to be made. So you always use written agreement. Email is sufficient, but agree on what you are buying or what you are selling, how and when you are going to deliver it, and for which price. And this will be enough, because the level of due care of the company is higher than the due care of any other natural person. So me as Marijana buying a piece of, I don't know, clothes or new shoes or a bread, it's not same when I'm buying that as my law office. And in a situation where I'm buying shoes, there has to be more formalities met, but when I'm doing that as a lawyer, only email exchange is sufficient. But as I say, always do that in a written way, so you can later on determine who got it wrong in a way, because if they are late with the shipment of the things that you need for your chicken farm, you can always say, but you initially agreed, this is the email, that you were going to deliver it by end of December. And if there is no email and you only talked over the phone, you will be in a situation that you can't prove that they basically didn't obey the term that they committed to. Any questions? Please do ask before we switch to exercises. Just unmute yourself and comment, ask. No questions?
Hello.
Yes, please do.
Yeah, I have a question about a counter.
Okay.
What is the responsible for about a counter in front of the law? We will get an agreement with the, I think, with the counter.
Okay.
And what is the responsibility?
What is their responsibility? They are professionals who are offering their bookkeeping and accountant services to you. So you have to provide the documentation. So it means invoices, transaction data of your bank account, everything to them. And they are required by law, because they are regulated profession, to do it in the best possible way. So everything has to be compliant with the law. You don't have, you have to ask them, and they have to give you advice on how your invoice for the company should look like. What are the details that have to be on that invoice? And providing that you listen to their advice, that you put everything that they said that has to be on the invoice. In case there is any problem, the accountant, with the bookkeeping of that accountant, they are liable to you. So it's not your fault. They will be liable for your, let's say, bad bookkeeping in that sense. And beware that in Croatia, each professional, each profession that is providing any kind of services, lawyers, accountant, I don't know, audits, people that are providing business consultancy, have so-called professional indemnity policies. So in a case they do something wrong and make damages to your company, they are insured for that. They have insurance policy, and you can sue them or maybe make a settlement and ask them to pay for the damages that they incurred to your company. I hope that this was your question and I got the answer right.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. But don't worry. This is the more or less, I would say that standard of the accounting in Croatia is rather good, and more or less accountants usually I never hear any bad stories, but there are always, as in any professions, as it is with lawyers. This is the reason that I say that you should ask around and your friends or somebody you trust who to take as accountant. And definitely it has to be a person that you trust, that gives you, let's say, respect, that makes you feel safe, and that acts professionally, that responds to your emails, calls, and that gives you good advice. And in a case that you feel that such person is not on the other side, you can switch the accountant and ask for another one to help you. And if it proves that when you switch the accountant, that the accountant before was doing something wrong, then you can always sue them, basically go to the court and ask for damages. And they have this professional indemnity policy. So they're insured for the, let's say, things that they do wrong. Even if they want to damage you, in a sense, they steal your money or forge the books, they can even go to jail. So don't worry, this is really covered, and it's not something that they would play with, because they know that either they are going to lose their license, go to jail and pay damages, or even worse.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Please ask. Something that wasn't covered and that you want to ask anyhow, I can also try to answer your question. Okay, not for the moment, so we'll move forward. The idea was that also I share with you something like a small exercise. So we basically play, and I have a few examples of exercise. Playing with the company name and business seat. So as I said before, the company name is the name you are going to be present on the market with. So you choose something that is good, that is unique, that represents your company. You are not allowed to copy the existing company names or the brands. This is forbidden. Please be aware that this name has to be in Latin letters, and it can contain Arabic numbers and can be in any language of official language of the European Union. So the best thing is to go to this web page. So it's Sudski Register. This is basically the register of all companies in Croatia, and just write down the name you desire. So if such name is not taken, you can use it. If it is taken, in a sense that there is the same one or similar, just choose another one, because the court can say that it's too similar to existing company and that there will be confusion. But if it is available, just go for it. So I just gave an example of one of the names. So it's my name is Marijana, so it's Marijaniini izazovi, Marijana's challenges. And this is something that it doesn't exist in company register, and I can freely have my company named as Marijaniini izazovi. We could also use the German version of the name. So it could be, I can't remember the right German word, but in English it would be Marijana's challenges or issues or whatever. But anyhow, you can just think aloud, or maybe join us, unmute yourself and comment which name would you choose for your company, or just think about it. And also when we think about company name, the second thing that we have to think about is the business seat. So business seat is a legal term for the town or a city or a place that you will be basically doing your business activities in. It can be Zagreb, Omiš, Split, Rijeka, Hvar. Usually villages are also available, but you have to check whether it is possible to do it in a village. So, for example, if I choose Omiš, that small city on Croatia, a small town on Croatian coast in surrounding area of city of Split, I would have to go to commercial court in Split for everything that I have to do to register my company. So just think about what is convenient to you and where you will be living and where your company's activities will be. So choose the court that is basically in your vicinity. For Zagreb, more or less everything is Zagreb. So if you choose Zaprešić, Jastrebarsko, Samobor, more or less everything goes with Zagreb. You can check with any notary public, javni bilježnik, and they can advise you which court will be competent for your company. Then there is a second exercise, the one that deals with business activities. As I said before, business activities are activities that you intend to provide with your company. So it can be like, I don't know, I'm going to sell the books, I'm going to have a restaurant, so I'm going to do some food and beverages for my guests. I'm going to produce clothes, so I'm going to have the manufacturing of shoes. I'm going to have a chicken farm. For some reason, I love chicken farm today. I'm going to write down the software, so I'm going to sell the software as an IT company. I'm going to, I don't know, to sell groceries like milk, bread, everyday things. And this business activity has to be registered with the company court. So you have to think of business activities and you have to list them down. You can't sell shoes if you are not registered for selling shoes. Or you can't develop and write down the code of software or provide restaurant services if you are only registered for sale of shoes. This is something that is really, really important. You can register for as many things as you wish, because maybe at the moment you don't know which one will succeed, and there is no limit to it. You can ask the notary public or the lawyer to write down all the business activities in the so-called nacionalna klasifikacija djelatnosti, but nevertheless you have to choose from the last 2 years, you have to choose which one is going to be your main activity, and you have to register it with the Statistical Bureau. It's crazy, but it's the way the things are. So do check the business activities you want to do with your notary or the company register, and then register for that business activities that you wish to do. If you are, as I said before, providing services or products that you are not registered for, can lead to fines from the custom office. And this is something that I would not recommend. So how to choose business activities? As I said before, you have this open source of information, this sudski register. So all companies in Croatia are listed there. And you can see their company's name, business seat, who their owners is, directors, and you can also see which business activities they are registered for. And you can, I don't know, if you decide to open the restaurant, you can find the name, company name of the restaurant that is going to be your competition, and just simply go to the company register and see for which business activities this restaurant is registered, and then choose those activities and ask also confirmation of the notary public or the company register that these are all activities that you have to be registered for. So this is no problem, but it has to be done. Otherwise, if you register for selling of shoes and you start selling food, there could be problems, especially with the custom office, because they tend to go around and check if you are registered for the services and products you are providing, and they can not just warn you about that, but they can also issue a fine. And this is something that I would never want anybody of you to encounter in your business life. As I said, you have to decide which your main activity will be, and the most revenue will be coming from it. Also have in mind that for some business activities, as I mentioned, for restaurants, you have to have such something that is called minimally technical conditions or minimally tehnički uvjeti. If you want to open the coffee bar, or if you want to have a hairdresser salon, or you need special exams. So do check before you register, because I know that in some of the countries of the Middle East, you just start doing business and you pay taxes. Unfortunately, in Croatia, as we are a country that has socialist origin, we tend to regulate everything. So we are trying to be more open and more easy to do business, but we are not that liberal as the countries of the Middle East when you just start doing your business and pay taxes. Still, you have to do some formalities, and it's nothing that you can't do. It's just something that you have to think about in advance and be aware that if you don't do that timely, it can lead to situations where you have to unfortunately pay fines, or maybe act upon warning, or some kind of I don't know, so-called punishment issued by public authorities. The third exercise basically deals with your business address. Please know that your business address is basically the place where your actual office will be, your production, manufacturing facilities. So it's, for me, it's Zagreb, ulica Ljudevita Gaja 7. Ulica Ljudevita Gaja, it's basically the business address. It's something that it can change. And remember that when you change it, it has to be registered with the company register, Statistical Bureau, and FINA. All of those people, together with tax authorities and bank, want to know when you change your business address, because they want to deliver the mail, they want to know where you are located, and this is the reason they are existing. So you have to let them know that you change your business address. Also, when we talk about company director, usually the people who start business are directors, but still you can have a third person if you for some reason don't want, or you can't be director. Anybody can be your director into the company. And please also think about the status of that person. If he is not employed, he has to be employed with your company, and you have to pay certain salary that depends on his education. If he is already employed with another company, then he doesn't have to be employed. So this is something that you also have to take into account. The same goes for you. So if you want to have your own company, but you already are working with somebody, you don't have to be then employed with your company. But the moment you stop working for somebody else, you have to get employed with your company. If you still have that company and you want to be director in that company. I think that this is more or less everything. So I hope that you have questions now, and I'm here to answer them. Comments? Nothing. Anyhow, as I said before, we will share the materials with you. We will try to upload it to our YouTube channel, I think, really soon. Please do contact us, as I said, through Facebook page, through our Gmail account. We just starting, and do spread the word around and ask other people to join us. As I said before, they don't have to be migrants or refugees. it's enough that they want to start their business, and they can follow lectures in English, because we will really try to do our best to provide our services and help you with your business endeavors. So thank you all for joining. And I think, okay, thank you, Hilal, for listening. I hope I got your name right. And I hope that you will join for other sessions also. I think that this week, Marisha, if I'm not mistaken, we'll also have Vedran.
Yes,
Thursday.
yes,
Yeah.
on Thursday. Yeah, correct.
So he's a sales guru. So if you want to sell anything, eyes from to penguins, you have to join, and you will get everything from Vedran, how to do that.
Correct.
So we can do the wrap up. And as I said before, we'll share the materials, and thank you for joining. Great. Have a great evening and enjoy your evening. Bye.
Thank you, Marijana, and thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.